My name is George Harrison. The Beatles were a worldwide phenomenon. Frenzied crowds greeted us everywhere. But there's much more to the story. It's been a terrible burden of guilt, being part of this great deception. Even though there were important reasons for it, which I'll explain. For it was many years ago, in 1966, that my mates and I promised never to tell the story that I'm about to tell. But first of all, I want to say how much we all loved Paul, the real Paul McCartney.
Now am I dead? Now am I dead?
It's made it more hectic. It's made all the press conferences mean a bit more. People said to us, last time we came, all our answers were a bit flippant. And they said, why isn't it this time? Well, the thing is, the questions are a bit more serious this time. It hasn't affected any of the bookings. The bookings have been, the people coming to the concerts have been the same, except for the first show in Memphis, which was a bit down, but so what?
Even though everyone is sort of getting on very well in this society we've got, it's a bit too controlled, because you suddenly, you want to go and do something and somebody says, oh, no, subsection B, clause A, you can't do that, And you say, well, why not? Because, I'm a human being and that, and haven't I got my rights?
That we're so childish, you can't say things like that unless you're a silly little child.
And if he was grown up, he wouldn't have done the thing, because he only did it for a stunt anyway. So, who's he to say about growing up? Who is he?
Who is this guy?
Just who?
I said, well, yes, but you're not allowed to do that. He said, well, if it doesn't interfere with anyone, it must be okay. And they said, sorry, it still isn't, So people have suddenly, I think a lot of people have twigged that this, they've shut themselves in a bit, They've got all these rules for everything, rules of how to live, how to paint, how to make music. And it's just not true anymore, They don't work all those rules.
Because there's this thing about, when America gets violent, gets very hung up on a thing, it tends to have this sort of Ku Klux Klan thing around it.
Because you can't apply them, because it means then that you're assuming that you know it all, and it's primitive man, us, and something else, and we don't know it all yet. And so all of this gang of people from International Times, Indica, and the whole scene, is trying to do, is trying to see where we are now, and see what we've got around us, see any mistakes we've made, straighten them out. It's just a straightforward endeavour kind of thing, just to do something.
It seems hard, free speech.
But is it possible just to say what you think all the time? What about 14-year-old teenagers who think you're absolutely marvellous and can't bear to be heard?
See, we're not, when we say anything like that, we don't say it older people seem to think, to be offensive. We mean it helpfully, and if it's wrong, what we say, okay, it's wrong, and people can say, you're wrong about that one. But in many cases, we believe it's right, we're quite serious about it.
Other than what's been done before, because what's been done before isn't necessarily the answer. There could be another answer. What they're saying and what they're doing is sort of nothing strange about it. It's just dead straight. But it's that they're talking about things that are a bit new, and they're talking about things which people don't really know too much about yet.
But do you mind being asked questions, for example, in America, people keep asking questions about Vietnam. Does this seem useful?
Well, I don't know, if you could say that war's no good and a few people believe you, then it may be good, I don't know. You can't say too much though, that's the trouble.
And so, they tend to get, you know, people sort of put them down a bit and say, you know, weirdo, psychedelic and things. But it's really just what's going on around, and they're just trying to look into it a bit. So next time you see the word, you know, like sort of any word, any new strange word like psychedelic, you know, drugs, the whole bit, you know, freak out music and all of that, don't immediately take it as that, you know, because your first reaction's got to be one of fear.
I had known of the Paul is dead theory going back to the mid-1970s, and I studied the clues, but I chalked it up as the Beatles being clever and a marketing ploy to sell more records. Then around 2.5 years ago, I read the memoirs of Billy Shears, and this reignited my interest in the Paul is dead conspiracy. After reading the book, I decided to put a collage of pictures together to see if the conspiracy was really worth looking at, resulting in the slides you see here. And much to my amazement, the differences were not even subtle. For example, picture number 1, which is biological Paul, looks nothing like picture number 2, which is supposed to be McCartney during the 1964-65 era. In picture number 3, we can see that version of Paul has a different nose in picture number 1, where the nostrils in picture number 3 are flared. Picture number 4 shows a longer chin and jawline, as does picture number 5. Picture number 6 has similarities to biological Paul, but it still looks very different than the other images. With picture number 7, we see yet again another version of Paul who looks nothing like picture number 8, and picture number 8 is clearly not the same person in picture number 1. So as you can see, this was starting to become very interesting. Now let's move to the next slide. Again, with this collage, we have biological Paul in the number 1 position. Picture number 2 is allegedly a picture of Paul before Beatle fame, but in actuality appears to be a composite image morphing the face of Bio Paul and a replacement, most likely Bill Shepherd. Picture number 3, in my opinion, looks nothing like Paul. Picture number 4 has the longer chin and beak nose, as does pictures number 5, 7, and 8. To me, picture number 6 has the closest resemblance to biological Paul than any of the other pictures, and in case anyone was wondering, it is my opinion that pictures number 4, 5, 7, and 8 are Bill Shepherd, with pictures number 3 and 6 being other actors. Now let's talk a bit about Michael Jackson. As I have mentioned in a number of shows, the surgery a Paul replacement went through was extensive. It is not a simple case of a facelift. We are told in memoirs that aside from the surgeries, there were fillers to round out the face and also the use of latex, which we will discuss next. Now, Michael Jackson is a great example of how surgery can completely change the appearance of a person's facial features. Here we have 6 images of Michael Jackson taken over time. Picture number 1 is Michael when he was a young boy with the Jackson 5. If we ask someone who had no knowledge of Michael Jackson if the person in picture number 1 is the same person in picture number 4, they would in all likelihood say no. If we ask that same individual if the person in picture number 2 is the same person in picture number 5, or if the person in picture number 3 is the same person in picture number 6, I would bet the response would be no, they are not the same person. However, those of us familiar with Michael Jackson know that all of the pictures above are indeed Michael, and his facial appearance changed drastically over the years due to surgeries. So when folks are skeptical about the ability to alter someone's appearance to look like Paul McCartney, I point to Michael Jackson as Exhibit A. Now let's take a moment and talk about latex. In a moment, I'm going to show you 2 videos proving latex is definitely being used as part of Paul's or Bill's disguise. The first clip is from a 1970s rehearsal of Jet. In that clip, I will slow down and freeze frame the video at the point where the latex sags and drops into his lower neck area. The second clip is Fall being interviewed by Bob Costas. I believe it was the early 1990s. During the interview, Fall places his index finger to his right temple area and the latex bunches, and then takes a moment to smooth out again once he removes his finger from his face. So let's take a look at both those videos now. Okay, here's the Jet rehearsal from the 1970s. I believe it was 1973. Pay very close attention to Bill's neck and throat area. You're going to see the latex disfigure, and it's going to drop and droop into his lower neck. Here it is in slow motion. Let's play it again in slow motion. And you can see how it has disfigured. And here's the still. Okay, so something's not right, and the something that's not right is the latex not staying in place. Here is the Bob Costas interview. Watch when Bill places his index finger to his temple area, and then when he removes his finger, you're going to see that the latex takes a little while to reform. Now let's do that in slow motion. Okay, so watch. He keeps his finger there, and as he does, the latex starts to scrunch up. And by the way, law enforcement will tell you that somebody who speaks and touches their face often, they will tell you that that is a possible sign of deception and not telling the truth. I'll just put that out there. Now he'll take his finger away from his face and take a look at what happens. The latex does not reform quickly. It takes a little while. Take a look at that. Here's a still, and you can see how the latex is bunched up under his finger, and then another still afterwards, where it took some time to reform. Okay? That's latex, folks.
Number 9, 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 Neanderman, 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 Neanderman.
Paul McCartney's the sort of successful bit of it all that I'm very proud of, but I don't imagine I'm him, because it'll just blow my head off.
They shouldn't be paying me this money. I'm not, I'm not him. I'm some little kid masquerading as this guy who's like a famous guy. Oh no, I'm a clone,
So this started some rumour that because he was barefooted, he's dead. But it was a little bit strange, because people did start looking at me like, right. Is it him, or a very good double?
Well, that was the idea. That was the other part of it, that there was a guy who looked like you taking your place.
No, well, this is him.
Yeah. Or is it?